Welcome to my experience on the Serenade of the Seas. I am your host, Sierra. I want to show you the ship, the ports of call on my Western Caribbean trip, and tell you about the food. Let's get started. We woke up on a beautiful day at Cocoa Beach, but it was time to drive across the state and get on our ship. We arrived in Tampa to board the Serenade of the Seas. We were going on a 5-day Western Caribbean cruise. We're stopping at Costa Maya and Cozumel. We arrived at the port around 12:30. It was extremely busy as there were other ships trying to board, but we still got on the ship within about 15 minutes. We are on the Serenade of the Seas. The ship weighs 90 gross tons. It took its first voyage in August of 2003. It holds 2,100 passengers, and it is a beautiful ship. Please let me know in the comments below if you've ever sailed on the Serenade of the Seas. Please like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification for future content like this one. It was day 3 of our cruise as we were pulling into Costa Maya. The ship was turning around, getting ready to dock for port. At this port, we had no plans because we canceled our excursion. So we had breakfast in the main dining room and just enjoyed the view. We took our time getting off the ship because we didn't plan on going far. We were just going to check the shops out. Finally off the ship, we went walking around in the port area. It's a very beautiful port going in. What I love the most was these pool sides right beside the restaurants. You could just get in the pool and order a drink or just hang out. I think you had to be a customer of the restaurant to be able to stay in these pools, but it's still really cool. After checking out the pools, we just kind of moved on to some shops, just walking around to see what the port had to offer. So at this time in July at Costa Maya, a lot of the beach clubs are closed because the beaches are infested with seaweed. But we found these really cool flamingos. I took out my GoPro and just started filming them and walking around. It was really cool. So flamingos are pink because they eat shrimp, and it takes about 18 months for them to turn their pink color as they're growing up. But this is what makes them really pink and beautiful. To go into Mexico would not be complete if we did not go to a cantina and sit down and have some Mexican food, listen to some Mexican music, and watch some Mexican dancers. So we had some nachos. They were really good. Jalapenos were good. The chips were corn like you would find in Mexico, not so much in the United States. So on day 4 of our cruise, we got to wake up to this beautiful sunrise in Cozumel. As the ship was backing in, we went and got breakfast at the Windjammer. We were getting off the ship as early as possible. So when we got off the ship, we rode a taxi up to a wildlife reserve where we had a day pass. We decided to hang out and get some free food and free drinks with the price of the day pass, and we just kind of hung out here for the day before we headed back to the ship to get back on for our final sea day. So our initial table was on the starboard side of the ship. It was a pretty decent table, you know, we were kind of close to people and not too bad. The Serenade of the Seas is not a very wide ship. You know, we sat down and started checking out the menu, and the next thing we know, the head dining room staff decided to ask us if we wanted a better table. We were moved to table 763. We were on deck 5, and I truly believe that there is no better table on the ship. We started out our meal with wine, bread, and salads, and Melody had French onion soup. Then we got our main entrees. This night I had like a prime rib. It was so nice and so tender. So one issue that I seemed like I had is like the portion size was really small. But the thing is you get so many courses of meals, it doesn't really matter. As you can see, when I cut this steak with a butter knife, it just kind of melts off. Didn't take much to cut it all. It was very tender and very juicy. And as you can see, our dessert this night was a creme brulee. Probably the best dessert of the entire trip. The caramel candy on top, that was really good. Really kind of made the custard kind of pie. So on the next night, Melody had this dish, and then I had some salmon. I am always good with some salmon and some like salsa and some veggies. Looking back on the portion size, I was always grateful at the end of each meal because I actually got to get dessert. So they don't like overfeed you in each course. I didn't kind of like that at first, but afterwards, you know, it was kind of nice that I got to experience the full meal. So I decided to get tres leches on the Mexican night of the theme of food. That was actually our view outside of our window of our table. It was so beautiful as we sailed away from Cozumel that night. On our final sea day, we decided to sleep in just a little bit. So we decided to go over to the Windjammer and get some breakfast. While I am not a big fan of buffets on cruise ships, I was actually very pleased with the food that I got from the Windjammer this morning. It was so yummy. As the ship sailed away from Cozumel, they decided to have a chef's parade. It was Caribbean themed night. All the wait staff was dressed in like Caribbean clothes. Everybody just kind of seemed like they're on vacation. I want to give a shout out to our servers, Yasa and Lester. They were so awesome, so helpful. It was so amazing. I will never forget table 763 on the Serenade of the Seas. Thank you for watching our video on our cruise. It was our honeymoon cruise, and we really enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe.